Not every city in Texas was built to make life easier. Behind its booming economy and strong state image, some cities in Texas are quietly struggling, trapped by crime, poverty, outdated infrastructure, and shrinking opportunities. The problem often isn't one major issue, but a buildup of small ones left unaddressed for too long. Amarillo often looks calm, but its problems work quietly. This city in the Texas Panhandle consistently sees crime rates above the state average, especially for violent and property crimes. For a mid-sized city, safety in some areas feels fragile. Economically, Amarillo's median household income sits around $55,000, while poverty remains above 15%. The cost of living is relatively low, but the issue isn't price, it's the lack of options. The local economy relies heavily on meat processing, agribusiness, and logistics, stable but offering little upward mobility. When these sectors slow down, there are few job alternatives. Amarillo sits along the legendary Route 66 and is known nationwide, but that fame has never truly improved the quality of life for its residents. If Amarillo struggles with stagnation, Beaumont struggles with being left behind. This East Texas city long relied on oil, petrochemicals, and port industries, but as those sectors shrank and fluctuated, Beaumont was pulled down with them. Median household income sits around $50,000 to $52,000, while poverty exceeds 20%, well above the state average. Its biggest issue is safety. Beaumont records high violent crime rates for a small to mid-sized city, making a sense of security a luxury, not a given. Many neighborhoods show signs of decline: vacant homes, aging infrastructure, and struggling public services. Ironically, Beaumont is home to the Port of Beaumont, a key hub for the military and energy. But this large-scale economic activity hasn't trickled down to improve everyday life for most residents. Wichita Falls often flies under the radar, and that's exactly the problem. It's not big, not bustling, and not growing much, yet its crime rate is relatively high for its population size. Median household income ranges from $50,000 to $53,000, while poverty stubbornly sits in the mid-teens. The cost of living is low, but once again, price isn't the issue, it's the lack of opportunity. The local economy leans on Shepherd Air Force Base, retail, and basic services, which offer limited stability but don't create broad economic mobility. Interestingly, the military base gives Wichita Falls the appearance of stability from the outside, but depending on a single major institution makes the city vulnerable to stagnation. Odessa is a textbook boom town, thriving when times are good, hurting when they're not. When oil prices are high, the city looks busy and flush with cash. But when the energy sector slows, the cracks show everywhere. Odessa's economy relies almost entirely on oil and gas, making residents' livelihoods rise and fall with the global market. Another problem is quality of life. Odessa reports high crime rates for a mid-sized city, especially for violent and property crimes. Ironically, despite being in an energy-rich area, median household income is only about $60,000, while housing costs surge during oil booms, making life feel expensive without long-term security. Odessa is often listed among the most dangerous cities in West Texas, based on per capita crime comparisons. Lubbock is often called a college town, but that label doesn't fully hide its long-standing issues. Texas Tech University does bring economic activity, but outside the campus area, quality of life doesn't rise evenly. Crime rates, especially for property crime and non-fatal violence, are above the national average, making safety feel inconsistent across neighborhoods. Poverty sits around 20%. The cost of living is relatively low, but that comes with stagnant wages and limited job options. Outside of education, the local economy leans on healthcare, retail, and agribusiness, stable sectors, but rarely a path to upward mobility. Despite having a major university, Lubbock sees many young graduates move away due to the lack of local career opportunities. Houston is a giant city with contradictions that are hard to ignore. Economically, it's strong, very strong in fact. But beneath that, quality of life is uneven and full of pressure. Houston's violent crime rate consistently sits above the national average, around 1,148 per 100,000 people, with shootings, robberies, and homicides placing it among Texas's most troubled big cities. In many areas, poverty, poor housing, and limited public services are still visible. The city is also known for its loose urban planning. Public transit is weak, car dependency is high, and flooding is a yearly threat. Houston is one of the largest cities in the U.S., without formal zoning, which fuels rapid but often unchecked growth. The energy, medical, and port industries do create jobs, but that growth doesn't always feel safe or livable for everyone. Dallas often looks successful from afar, but living in it is far more complicated. The city is indeed a hub for business, finance, and major Texas corporations. But behind the skyline and commercial districts, crime, especially violent and property crime, remains above the national average. Some areas face chronic safety issues that are hard to break. In fact, Dallas has the highest homelessness rate in the state, with around 3,500 people unhoused. Economically, the median household income in Dallas is around $65,000, which sounds solid, but that number hides sharp inequalities across neighborhoods. Housing and rent prices are rising fast, while many mid-level wages aren't keeping pace. As a result, life feels expensive without matching quality. Dallas also suffers from urban sprawl. The city keeps expanding without a truly strong public transportation system. Car dependency is high, traffic congestion is growing, and access to public services is uneven. San Antonio is often praised as a cheap and friendly city, but for many of its residents, life here feels stuck. In San Antonio, problems don't explode, they settle in. The city feels warm, full of history, and thrives on tourism. But beyond the river walk and cultural charm, many locals live on thin margins. Median household income sits at just $58,000 to $60,000 US, which feels tight for a city this size. No surprise that nearly 1 in 5 residents live in poverty. Safety is also a lingering concern. Property crime is above the national average, and in some neighborhoods, violence is no longer surprising. What complicates things is that San Antonio is growing quickly, but that growth hasn't brought a boom in job quality. The economy still leans on tourism, services, and retail. Lots of openings, but few paths to upward mobility. Pharr didn't collapse from chaos. It's trapped by limitations. This small city in the Rio Grande Valley faces an extremely high poverty rate, often over 25%, making it one of the worst in Texas. Median household income sits at just $40,000 to $43,000 US, far below the state average. Safety isn't Pharr's strength either. Property crime is relatively high for a small city, And while violence isn't always prominent, the sense of security feels fragile. Many families live close to the edge, not just geographically, but economically. Job options are limited, dominated by border logistics, warehousing, retail, and low-wage services. Ironically, Pharr is home to the Pharr International Bridge, one of the key U.S.-Mexico trade routes. Trucks and goods move billions of dollars each year, yet the economic benefit barely touches local residents. Massive activity passes through, but prosperity gets left behind. Port Arthur didn't fall all at once. It's a city worn down over time. For decades, it lived off oil, petrochemicals, and an industrial port. But as those industries shrank and automation rose, residents were left with the fallout. Today, Port Arthur's poverty rate hovers between 25 to 30%, one of the highest in Texas. Median household income is only about $40,000, nowhere near enough to escape economic pressure. Safety issues make things worse. Port Arthur has one of the highest violent crime rates per capita in Texas, making safety more of an exception than a norm. Many neighborhoods show visible decline: vacant homes, decaying buildings, and strained public services. The cruelest irony? Port Arthur has billion-dollar refineries and a major port. Industry runs, ships come and go, yet the economic rewards barely reach the local community. In Texas, Port Arthur stands as one of the worst cities, not due to one disaster, but because too much was left to rot for too long. But Texas isn't just a collection of struggling cities. The state also holds the opposite: cities that grow steadily, stay safe, and consistently work for their people. These places aren't always the most famous, but often the most livable. In these cities, economic growth feels real, the environment is well kept, and daily life doesn't feel like a fight. El Paso ranks among Texas' best cities because it's pulled off something rare: a big city that still feels safe and livable. While many Texas cities struggle with crime, El Paso consistently records some of the lowest crime rates among large U.S. cities. That's no coincidence. It's the result of a strong community and a relatively stable approach to public safety. Economically, El Paso isn't aggressive, but it's balanced. The cost of living is below the national average, especially for housing. So a median household income of $58,000 to $60,000 still goes a long way. The city is supported by Fort Bliss, cross-border trade, healthcare, and education. It's also the largest bicultural city in the U.S., with over 80% of residents speaking Spanish or bilingual. Instead of conflict, that culture builds a strong social bond. Corpus Christi is a coastal city that offers something increasingly rare: living near the ocean without being priced out. Compared to other coastal cities in the U.S., Corpus Christi's cost of living remains below the national average, especially when it comes to housing. Owning a home near the beach isn't a fantasy here. It's still within reach. Life moves at a relaxed pace. The city isn't crowded or high pressure. Traffic is light, population density is low, and the city isn't driven by unchecked urban ambition. Its economy is anchored by a major port, energy, oil and gas, the military, and tourism, creating stable jobs without making the city feel overly industrial. The port of Corpus Christi is one of the largest energy ports in the U.S., yet the city still feels laid back, not aggressively industrial. Beaches, ocean breeze, and open spaces are part of daily life. New Braunfels is an example of a fast-growing city that doesn't feel overcrowded. Strategically located between Austin and San Antonio, it has become a magnet for young families and workers who want access to big cities without living in the middle of the chaos. Its population growth is among the fastest in Texas, yet quality of life has improved, not declined. The city is known for being safe, well-kept, and very family-friendly. Public schools are solid, residential areas are organized, and green spaces are still easy to find. The cost of living is rising, but still more reasonable than Austin, especially for housing. Many people move to New Braunfels to settle down, not just pass through. Its economy is supported by river tourism, Guadalupe and Comal, healthcare, light manufacturing, and the overflow from the Austin-San Antonio job market. That means broader job options without having to live in a big city. New Braunfels has deep German roots, from its architecture to its festivals. Georgetown is the choice for those who want to be near Austin, without the stress of Austin. Located just north of the Texas capital, the city is known for being orderly, safe, and well-planned. Quality of life is the main draw. Neighborhoods are well laid out, public schools are strong, and the historic downtown is vibrant without feeling crowded. The cost of living is lower than Austin, though higher than in smaller Texas towns. Its economy is supported by education, healthcare, local government, and spillover from Austin's job market. Many residents work in Austin, but return to Georgetown for a calmer, more structured life. Georgetown is known as the most beautiful town square in Texas, with a classic square that stays active year-round. This is not a place to chase chaos. It's a place to settle, with safety and a steady pace of life, which is why it ranks among Texas's best cities. McKinney is a more orderly, family-friendly version of Dallas. Located north of the city, it's known for high-quality public schools, relatively strong safety, and consistently well-kept neighborhoods. Many families choose McKinney not because it's cheap, but because it's stable and predictable, two things increasingly rare in major cities. McKinney thrives because its economic foundation is solid, not flashy. In healthcare, it's supported by large facilities like Medical City McKinney and a network of regional clinics, creating jobs in medicine, administration, and research. This makes employment here fairly resilient. In tech, McKinney benefits from the DFW Tech Corridor. Many professionals work in IT, software, and engineering, either locally or hybrid with firms in Plano, Frisco, and North Dallas. Meanwhile, downtown McKinney is often named one of the best small town centers in the U.S. Round Rock has grown into a tech city without losing its sense of comfort. Just north of Austin, it's a key part of the Austin Tech Corridor. Its big name comes from Dell Technologies, which has long been the backbone of the local economy, spurring growth in IT, software, hardware, and business support services. What puts Round Rock in the top tier is balance. Its cost of living is lower than Austin's, especially for housing, but job opportunities remain broad. Many tech professionals live here, close to work, but away from the density and high costs of the urban core. The city is also family-friendly. Public schools are strong, neighborhoods are well-planned, and city services are efficient. The infrastructure supports a work-by-day, home-by-evening lifestyle, not a city that demands living to work. Round Rock is often ranked as one of the most consistently growing economies in Texas. Plano is often called a city of executives. More than that, it's one of the most well-oiled economic engines in Texas. The median household income here is far above the state average, reflecting its dominance in professional and managerial jobs. Safety is another key asset. Crime rates are relatively low for a city this size, making Plano a consistent choice for established families and senior professionals. What sets Plano apart is its role as a hub for major corporations, headquarters or regional offices for companies like Toyota North America, JP Morgan Chase, Liberty Mutual, and Frito-Lay make it a magnet for talent in business, finance, tech, and supply chain. The cost of living is higher than the Texas average, but it matches the quality of life and economic stability the city offers. Frisco is the face of modern Texas, built for young families. Its population growth is among the fastest in the state, yet the city doesn't feel chaotic. The reason is simple. Frisco's urban planning is aggressive but controlled. Its public schools rank among the best in Texas, making it a magnet for young couples looking to build a future, not just pass through. Its economy is booming. Frisco sits at the heart of the DFW corporate corridor, near headquarters and major campuses in Plano and North Dallas. Tech, finance, healthcare, and professional services drive high-wage employment. Median household income significantly exceeds the Texas average. The city feels move-in ready for families. Frisco is known for sports and education, from the Dallas Cowboys training complex to high-tech school facilities. Allen often flies under the radar, mainly because everything runs so smoothly. This northern Dallas suburb is known for its excellent safety, making it one of the most secure places to live in the DFW area. Allen's main draw is its cost of living balance. It's not as expensive as Plano or Frisco, but the quality of life comes close. Its public schools are consistently strong, making the city popular with families aiming to move up without extreme financial pressure. The economy is supported by large-scale retail, healthcare, education, and the job market spillover from North Dallas. Allen isn't a hub for giant corporations, and that's exactly its strength. The city thrives on stability, not speculation. In fact, Allen is home to one of the most iconic high school stadiums in the U.S., a symbol of how seriously the city invests in its community. The Woodlands is a rare example of a city truly designed for people. As a master-planned city north of Houston, it has grown without losing its green space. Forests, lakes, walkways, and residential areas blend seamlessly. The result is clear: safe, calm, and highly livable. Safety remains high, public schools are top tier, and city services run efficiently. Economically, the Woodlands isn't a commuter town. It's home to energy, healthcare, tech companies, and major regional offices, with a median household income well above the Texas average. The Woodlands often ranks among America's highest quality of life cities, not because of luxury, but because of balance. If the best city is where life feels organized, healthy, and sustainable, the Woodlands is Texas at its finest.